Hey, it's JT,
And Mike.
hosts of Brew Crime.
And we've got some exciting news for you.
Mark your calendars for July 12th to 14th, 2024.
We're heading to the True Crime and Paranormal Podcast Festival in Denver, Colorado, and you won't want to miss it.
Are you worried about costs? Fear not. This festival is designed with you in mind, an affordable experience without sacrificing quality.
There are no inflated costs, just a weekend packed with authenticity, education, and networking.
Have you ever wished for genuine one-on-one interactions with your favorite creators? Well, now is your chance.
Save 15% off your ticket price by using the code BREWS at checkout.
You know, those things you need after listening to us for an hour? Well, at least me.
We hope to see you there and let them know.
Brew Crime sent you. Head over to truecrimepodcastfestival.com.
Welcome to Brew Crime, the podcast where we drink brews, talk crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is Mike and my co-host.
Still recovering from the last case.
Yes, and you'll still have to recover after this one.
Yeah, and I'm still JT, I suppose.
Yes.
I want to be
And
somebody else for a little bit. Like,
okay, Jay Tizzle.
isn't his name Mike from Dark Poutine?
Yes. Mike Brown.
I want to be him from Dark Poutine.
Okay, there you go. There you
He's
go.
finishing up his second book, isn't he?
It just he just went through legal. There's no changes and it's going to printing. So yes,
Yay!
very exciting. And he is also another local Metro Vancouver, British Columbia boy. So
We got to get him on the
yay.
show.
I'd love to try, or maybe even his co-host Matthew.
Either way,
Yeah.
either of them would be fun.
I was talking to his co-host Matthew today. So
That's what I'm saying, man. Come on, hook us up.
right.
Anyways, cool people. They seem like lovely humans. It's hard to
Yeah,
find
Dark
lovely
Poutine
humans.
is wonderful.
Yeah, it's hard to find good people in true crime these days. It's getting exceedingly harder, actually.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
so, but here we are,
Oh, yeah, here we are. Woohoo!
and the friends that we have on the show are good people. So,
Yes. Anyone that's been on the show is good peoples. All right. Well, we are back with current event crimes.
mhm.
And this woman that I'm going to be talking about is a terrible piece of work. She is an angel of death.
Oh no.
And my beer pairing for this is
Mhm.
by one of my favorites, Tristan of Temporal Ales, which is he doesn't have a brewery. He brews out of a couple different places. All of his imperial stouts are made out of Container Brewing in Vancouver, or his barrel-aged imperial stouts, barley wines, all that kind of stuff. And this is one of those. It's part of the Void series. And this is called Minimal Space because this woman is going to be living in minimal space for the rest of her life.
Perfect. I like the ending already.
And it's a Munich wine aged in a Buffalo Trace bourbon barrel. It's 14.42% alcohol, which means that it sits under some really terrible taxing because it falls under the spirits taxing here,
Oh no.
which goes by instead of the much lower taxes for beer, goes under a taxing for spirits, which is like severely higher. So this little 330 milliliter bottle was with tax almost $20.
Oh. Blah, blah, blah.
But yeah, a Munich wine, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically a barley wine made with German Munich malts. And if you don't know what a barley wine is, it is a very strong malty beer. They often sit where somewhere like 12% or higher. Unless it's an American barley wine, and then it could be basically an IPA at 12 or higher percent, which just isn't right. But yeah, this thing is like super, super dark, brownish red, like sort of a brownish tan head. It smells like brown sugar and caramel and toffee and a little bit of like dark fruits, maybe plum or something. It is pretty sweet on the nose, which makes sense when it's almost 15% alcohol. It's quite it's quite thick on the mouthfeel. Lots of lots of brown sugar and treacle and caramel. It is sweet, but it's not overly sweet. You don't really taste the alcohol, which is really scary.
Dangerous. Well done.
There is
Tristan, did you say his
definitely
name was?
Tristan is the head brewer, yeah. And yeah, this is just extremely dangerously good. And I wish that I could afford to just drink his Imperials all the time,
Yeah.
but I can't. No one can, I don't think. And,
Um,
and I mean, for anyone in the States that is big into the craft beer scene, this series of beers is very much like Bottle Logic in their series of beers. Let's have one more sip and then get to the case.
it looks yummy.
Oh, this is stupid good. And put a bottle of a different beer from Temporal aside that I'll be sharing with JT in July in Denver, Colorado. Come see us there, please. Say hi, shake our hands, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
I got my ticket. It's really
Buy-
happening.
Buy us a beer, whatever.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm cheap.
100%. All right. Well, I'll say quickly that I don't have a ton of information on the case itself, but I did find a lot of information about all of the victims. So I was pretty happy that I could at least get some information for every single victim, which can be
Awesome.
really fucking hard in
Yeah.
true crime.
Yes.
It's rare that you find information on half of the victims.
That's it's one of the hardest things I think about writing. I haven't written for active shooter, but the writers there, I mean, it's got to be the hardest thing because it's near impossible to find anything on victims,
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
who we focus on. So it's it's difficult.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, Heather Pressdee, 41 at the time of arrest in May 2023, is a serious piece of work. Before becoming a nurse, she spent 14 years as a veterinary technician. As part of her job, she would be tasked with euthanizing animals. This
Yep.
is all normal for sick animals and not a red flag at all for most people. She would then decide to get her nursing degree, which again, it's not that crazy. If you want to be
Yeah.
a vet tech and help animals, it can make sense you'd want to help humans.
Sure. Although I do enjoy dogs more than humans, but that's neither
Yes.
here nor there. Unless you
It's
buy
not
me a
even
beer.
It's not even a close thing, right?
Right, because my dog can't buy me a beer, but if you do, you're just a little better.
But you can train your dog to bring you a beer.
That's true, but then I have to buy it.
True. And at least one of your dogs probably couldn't be trained for that. He's too
Or trusted,
hyper.
really, at all. Neither,
He'd end up-
none of them could be trusted. I'd be
What's
empty
his-
by the time it got to me.
What's his name again?
Are you talking
the
about
one that-
Casper?
Broke your wife's nose.
Oh, Elton.
Elton. He'd end up like
God.
putting the beer through your leg or something.
I'd end up with a beer enema instead of
He'd end up shanking you with the beer bottle.
he'd grab it in his mouth. He'd hit the side of a cabinet with it and be like, "Let's go." It's Sharks versus Jets, bitch.
As his tail just wags.
Yes, it'll helicopter. He'll be so happy.
Yeah.
This is a game. This is a game.
Yeah, exactly. So once she was a registered nurse in July of 31st, 2018, she would get jobs in Pennsylvania in the counties of Allegheny,
Mm-hmm.
Westmoreland, Armstrong,
Uh-huh.
and Butler over the years. Like Now, this was quite a span of years, but still,
Yeah.
all those different counties, but all of this would happen there. So she would be disciplined at 11 different nursing jobs where she was found to be abusive towards patients and staff.
Um, if you don't check the references or the former employers,
Well, the references would be woof, woof, woof.
ah,
Because I was a vet
I
tech
see.
before.
True.
So each of these 11 medical institutions, she would either be fired or pushed to resign. Bad sign.
Not great.
Bad sign.
Red flag.
She was also found to have sent her mother very problematic texts in 2020. These would come out later in a court case.
Another
Quote,
red flag.
"Can I kill this man at Taco Bell?" One of those texts from April 6, 2022.
Red flag the size of Putin's forehead.
Yes. And then another one, "I'm going to murder already," from June 10th, 2022.
Did her mom was her mom just like new phone who dis? Like I'm confused.
I think, when these were sent, she probably just thought she was being dramatic or whatever, because no one expects their kid to be murdering people.
Well, no, no, no. It's just one of those things where it's just be like, maybe we should talk to somebody.
Yeah. So then in September 2nd, 2022, she'd send a text message to her mom that said, "Gonna murder my aides." In a message a few days
Okay.
later, she complained about a patient who was yelling, according to the affidavit, quote, "I drugged him already and I don't know how he is awake."
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, right?
No.
Yeah. On May 12th, 2023, Pressdee complained to her mother that a patient was driving me nuts because he was following her, according to the affidavit. Like,
Okay.
oh, darn, your patient is following you.
It's probably because she still had a needle in his arm, was holding the IV bag, and the other one just being like,
Probably, right? So then she would text, "But I may kill this resident. I need to set some sort of boundary with him." And that's
That's
quite the fucking boundary,
you fucking carved it in stone. It is
right?
permanent.
All right. Well, starting in 2020, she would begin to overdose her patients with insulin.
Oh,
This would take place at Concordia and Rebecca Residence, Blair Healthcare and Rehabilitation, Quality Life Services, Chicoria, Premier Armstrong Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, and Sunnyview Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Because, she moved around a lot because she sucked.
I also do want to say that the nursing home, older adult care facilities in the U.S. leave much to be desired.
I mean, nothing against the nurses and doctors
No,
and
no, no, no,
everything,
no.
but in general, they kind of suck everywhere. It
Oh,
doesn't really seem to matter where you are.
what really sucks is just like many other places for nurses and medical assistants and things like that. The company that owns it or whatever just sucks, you know.
Yeah.
And they do the best that they can. Most of them,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. There are some like this person sounds like,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they're great people.
Oh, yeah. Usually the nurses and doctors are great people. The
Yes.
owners of the places, often not. But
Nope.
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just in general. Capitalism is, yeah, terrible. It's brutal.
I always thought that the health of another human being would supersede capitalism, but that was my naivete.
Yeah, and then you became an adult in the United States and realized, oh shit, I'm so wrong.
And broke because I had to pay for my health care.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So her victims would range from 43 years old to 104.
What? They had made it that long. What?
Right?
I'm sorry, they don't need a push. They're like one feather away. You
Yeah.
don't have to. Ah,
Yep. She would claim that she was just trying to help the patients out, but we all know that that's some kind of crock of shit because you're not helping anything.
was she helping the
Not at all.
dogs too? I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least with the dogs, if you're euthanizing a dog, it's because they've been brought in because it's their end of their life.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah, for the most part.
Usually, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Much better chance that the dog was probably at death's door already.
True.
Working for private and for profit healthcare facilities, all investigations of death were done in house, and autopsies are rare because these people are in care homes. They're going to die, right? Of natural causes, usually.
Internal investigations never are good.
No, they don't
Never.
fucking work. They never
Nope.
have, they never will.
Nope.
So, this was all happening while colleagues would complain that Heather was harming patients.
That's not a claim you pull out of your butt or out of the air. That's something like
No.
you actually are like, because honestly, not that many stories about this happening out there. And unless you watch
Yeah.
like some documentary, you don't really, it's, that's not something you just say, right?
100%. Yeah. Like, there's
So,
got to be something out there going on for you to say that.
right. At least start watching the records.
Yeah. So before she was caught, she would give 22 people potentially lethal doses of insulin, killing 17 people either instantly or due to
Oh,
complications.
Jesus.
17. She's a fucking serial killer.
Yes. Yeah. And what was the span of time?
2020 to 2023, early 23.
17.
It's a lot of
Yeah, I mean
people.
that's a serial killer. It's too long to be a spree killer, but yeah.
Well, spree killer is like a one shot, right?
Could be over a
Usually,
series of days.
but not much.
But no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is too long, but
Yeah, way too long.
seven. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she had a pretty easy time at it also, as she would usually do the poisoning late at night where there were less staff on hand.
Tale as old as time.
Yep. Finally, in late 2022, there would be a comprehensive investigation into one of the deaths under her care, and the gig would be up. May 2023 would see Heather finally arrested for 3 murders in the first degree and 19 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder. So, seeing as capital punishment was on the table, Heather pled guilty to remove the death penalty from the possible outcomes, which, no surprise.
Also ironic.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm against death penalty, so whatever, but yeah,
I mean, I think
ironic.
it's phenomenal that she didn't want to be helped.
Yeah,
She thought everybody else wanted to be.
100%.
Yep.
So on May 2nd, 2024, very recent, the
Yep.
judge would pass a sentence of 3 consecutive life sentences and 19 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder. And this is the most fucking American sentence I've ever heard of. Her sentence sits between 380 and 760 years.
Oh yeah, we like to total it out, man.
It's just like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, we like to total it out. I mean, it's just because if we say life, there's like flexibility there, right?
Well, there doesn't have to be. Like in Canada, there is because life is 30 years or whatever. But you could just say life and mean life. Like
Well, and like
760 years is so fucking stupid.
states like Utah don't even really pass they pass sentences, but they pass minimums, and then
Yeah.
they allow the prison system, the parole board, to determine the actual length.
Yeah, that's
So they don't
Canada.
actually determine it in court. They wait and they give the parole board that massive
Yeah.
amount of power, which is insane to me
Well,
because
I mean,
parole boards are
do they set a minimum like whatever 30 years or whatever kind of thing?
yeah, but it's like 6 or 7 or something. I have to look it back up, but they just pass like the smallest amount that they can to give the parole board like enough time. It's the most
Yeah.
ridiculous thing in the world.
Well, because that's Canada. Like a maximum sentence is 30 years.
Well,
But
no,
but it
but the
doesn't mean
thing,
you get out. It
Right.
means that that's when parole starts, kind of thing.
Well, and the issue is that in sentencing, they don't give the families the closure by being able to say what they are. They make the families wait until the parole board says
Yeah.
what's happening, and that's incredibly terrible. Like that's just torturous. It's bad enough with parole being up for parole and stuff because you bring the families all back into this. So, bleh.
So, in no particular order, her victims were Betty McQueenie, Anne Victane, James Fair, Jack Rogers, Irene Simmons, Joseph Campbell, Betty Hutchinson, Gerald Shrum Sr., Elmer Albee, Charles Kammer, Barbara Schmidt, Norma Hendrickson, Mary Colwell, James Bartow, Alice Stewart, Ruth Erickson, Sandra Lincoln, Louis Skinner, Marguerite Laskovich, Nicholas Symbol, Sherry Stilantino, and Marianne Bauer. And not all of these victims died, but they're all victims,
Oh, absolutely, one hundred
right?
percent. And
17 died.
that's all. Those are the ones we know, right?
Well, yeah, 100%. These are the ones we know that were either killed or almost killed by her.
Almost.
But
Yeah.
there has to be more.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there is a warm up period here, and
Yeah, she got her nursing license in 2018, but the first case is in 2020.
oh no, there
Yeah,
had to be at least a dozen more that just maybe accidentally died. Like
100%.
so. Oh,
So that's it for the case, but I'm gonna now share a little bit of what I could find for every single victim. There's not a ton of information, but it's really nice that I could find some information to
oh
give you
yeah,
an idea of who these people were.
because they were people.
They were people, right? Yeah. So and again, these are not in order. One of the articles I found, the last article I found that I had to fudge around to actually get access to the article, finally put it in the right order, but I didn't find that to last, and I'd already written a bunch
Right.
of them. So these are not in any particular order, but these are all of the victims. So Betty McQueenie was born on February 3rd, 1923 in Hilliards, Pennsylvania. She would die on November 6th, 2022 at Chicora Medical Center at age 99. She was a devout Jehovah's Witness and loved to share Bible scriptures with her favorite being Psalms. Is it 83 in the dot 18? What is that again?
Psalm 83, verse 18.
Thank you.
Cradle
Yeah.
Catholic. It'll never go away.
Me here, being an atheist, I have no fucking idea anymore. I was a Catholic when I was a little child. I don't know. So her first husband was named Harry Paul Jordan Sr. And after his death, she would remarry to Jean McQueenie. She would have 9 children over the years, and 7 would live on without her. She was a grandmother, a great and great grandmother. She also had 4 brothers and sisters who passed away before her.
Jeez. I mean, she saw, when was she born?
1923.
Wow. So she saw and remembers the Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, Iraq. Uh, that's
A lot
7.
of shit.
Oh,
A lot of shit.
did I say Desert Storm? I don't know if I did.
Yeah,
but
you
that
did.
one-
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah, fair. And that's just that's like the bigger ones.
Yeah.
That's I can't imagine like having seen all that and the invention of computers and then like
Yeah.
that is incredible.
What year did the Americans land on the moon again?
Oh, it was in the 60s.
Okay. When was the first time you guys went to space again? That's
First
more
time we went
important,
to
I think.
1969 was the moon landing. First,
There's a reason I'm asking.
sure, the first man in space, USA. Alan Shepard. It was May 1961.
All right. Well, for someone who's seen a lot, Anne Victane was born on October 8th, 1918, and
Oh my
died
God.
March 21st, 2023 at the age of 104.
God bless her.
She was from Middlesex Township and was living at Sunnyview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Anne and her husband John were both active members at their senior center when they were younger. John would pass away in 1990, a long time ago.
Yes. Yeah, that's a long time to live without somebody you love. But I really appreciated the fact that you said that they were active when they were younger, they were active participants in their senior center. This it was the best sentence ever because
Right? Well, she's 104 years old.
I know. Like 40 years ago when she was 60
Yeah.
or 70,
Yeah,
like
right?
that just blows my brain. Blows my
Right?
brain.
So Anne had a knack for making friends wherever she went. She was a homemaker that loved her friends and family. She had five siblings, three children, as well as three generation of grandchildren. So she had a
Jeez.
big family.
She was born when Woodrow Wilson was president.
Was she?
The, the
Wow.
28th president.
That's fucking nuts.
It's I can't it just my brain cannot wrap around like just after World War One. Like
Right?
I'm trying to like think of like events in 1918 just to put things,
In
together
perspective.
on. Uh the Germans invaded Russia. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
so
right.
it's that's nuts. That's nuts.
All right, so we're gonna move ahead a little bit here. James Fair was born on February 17th, 1930, and passed away on August 6th, 2022 at the Chicora Medical Center. So he was a U.S. Army veteran who served from 1947 to 1951. Which war would that be, do you think? Or was it a war?
What'd you say? 19.
47 to 51.
Oh, that's World War II.
There you go. Because of his time in the service, he was a longtime member of the local Legion. He was a member of the Harvest Community Church. He would retire in 1992 from the Whitco chemical plant. He loved country music as well as gospel and would love to sit on the porch and talk with friends, family, and especially his grandkids. His wife, Betty A. Merchant Fair, passed away in 2018, and they had been married since 1952. That's just so long. That's amazing. So we'll move to Irene Elizabeth Simmons. She was born on July 2nd, 1944, and died on March 24th, 2023, with her daughter at her side. She had been battling many extended illnesses, and she had been cared for by Transitions Hospice and the staff at Sunnyview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. She had worked for the Internal Revenue Service for a time. From 1988 until she finally retired in 2017, she worked for Sechler Memorial Company. That's a long time.
Yeah.
She possessed courage, strength, kindness, and compassion, traits upon which she relied to aid and guide hundreds of families during her time of grief. And that came from her obituary.
Mm-hmm.
She was a member of All Saints Parish, St. Michael's, the Archangel Roman Catholic Church, which is a really long name.
Yeah.
She was also a longtime supporter of the Special Olympics, which, that's amazing.
Yes.
She was a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. And then Joseph Leo Campbell was born on January 7th, 1940, and died on December 25th, 2022. He had been a pipe fitter when he was working still. He was a father, a grandfather, a great grandfather, and had multiple siblings. Fortunately, that's all I could find about him. He was one of the people that had the least information,
Yeah.
but at least I got something.
Mm-hmm.
So Gerald Shrum Sr. was born on March 4th, 1933, and he died on March 25th, 2023 at age 90. Gerald was married to Marguerite Shrum for 65 years before she passed. He was a father, a grandfather, and a great grandfather. I mean, imagine, it's just so awesome to be able to be married to someone for 65 years.
That's a long time.
So long.
It's
It's so long. I've
so
been I've been
long.
with my wife for way more than a decade, but married for far less. And it's just like, wow.
Some days it's longer than others. I'll
So
say it. She'll never listen. It's fine.
there we go. Ruth Erickson was 89 years old when she died on December 17th, 2020. She was a lover of music, the arts, classic movies, and animals. She even nursed her Maine Coon cat back to life after being told to have it put down, which is
Aw,
amazing.
yes.
Ruth was a physical therapist for most of her life. She had two children as well as grand and great grandchildren. She just sounds like a lovely person.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, anyone
absolutely.
that loves the arts and animals, I'm in. I mean, I'm not big on classic movies, but that's okay.
Yeah. Mm.
So Sherry Dilatino was 58 when she died on August 9th, 2021. Her free time was always filled with crafting and coloring. Sherry had been married to her husband, a Bill, of 38 years when she passed. She had one son and a brother. So Marianne Bauer was born on January 28th, 1953, and passed away on September 28th, 2021. She
Mhm.
had been battling multiple sclerosis for a long time. Marianne was a homemaker, mother, and grandmother. She loved to shop and read and spend time with her family. She had a she had children and grandchildren, and it sounds like she had been in a home for a long time.
Yeah,
Multiple sclerosis, it's an ugly, ugly
it is.
condition.
It is. Yeah, I just attended the MS walk last Saturday
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, it's quite powerful.
There's nothing worse than a whatever a condition, disease, whatever you want to call it, that takes your body before your mind.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So Jack Allen Rogers the second was born on July 17th, 1942, and passed away on November 16th, 2021. Jack got both his master's and PhD in chemical engineering at the University of Pittsburgh and was a chemical engineer. He also worked at a nuclear power plant in the state of Washington and was a contractor for Bayer Corporation.
Mm.
So Bayer, if you know anything about chemicals, you know Bayer basically.
Yes, they also make a very good paint. Mhm.
Yes, I'm sure they do. He was also a pilot and chief warrant officer in the Vietnam War.
God.
He flew Cobra helicopters, and an accident in the war would stick with him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He was also an avid sharpshooter and enjoyed bird hunting.
Hmm.
I think, if I remember right, I didn't write it down, but I think he was also big into skeet shooting and stuff.
That's
Like,
cool. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not a gun person, but
neither am
if you
I.
that takes some skill.
That's kind of why I left it. But yeah, if I remember right, he loved skeet shooting and target shooting and all that stuff. But just a chemical engineer, pilot, worked in a friggin' nuclear power plant. Like, holy shit, what a life.
Yep. Accomplished as hell.
Hell yeah. I wish I had half of his accomplishments.
I wish I had one of them.
Yeah, right? Mary Colwell was born on July 24th, 1929, and died at age 92 on December 28th, 2021. Mary was a devotedly religious woman who attended the River Community Church. So when she was a younger woman, she was a caregiver for special needs people and would step into their lives when no one else would. So she just sounds like a fucking salt of the earth person.
Yep.
She loved to swim and she taught the local children to swim at the local YMCA.
Just just once I want an obituary to be like, this person was an asshole.
Yeah, right.
We all thought they were a terrible person, but this is here because they asked us to do it.
Right? But this isn't her.
No.
She would love to take holidays to the beach with her late husband, Russell, of 40 years. She had children and quite a few grandchildren from the sound of it. Norman Hendrickson was born on March 9th, 1934, and would almost die in February 2022 when the insulin that Heather pumped him full of made him hypoglycemic.
Uh-huh.
He would survive and later pass naturally in December of the same year. He and his wife Louise had been married for 62 years.
Mm.
When he was younger, he worked for AK Steel for 33 years and
Hmm.
and in the produce department of Shop and Save for 5 years. He loved to drive his John Deere tractor and like to tinker in the garage. And Norman and Louise had two children. I love the fact that he like loved to tinker in the garage with his John
Just
Deere.
just a 1940s man's man, you know, just like
Kind of sounds like her, right?
everything I never will be.
Right?
I can't imagine walking to the garage to tinker.
Oh, I don't have a garage. I've got a
I,
parkade where I park my car.
I, you can tinkle wherever you want. Tinkle, whatever. You can
Ah,
do. Listen,
I might get in trouble if I tinkle down there.
maybe just don't get caught. Well, you might get in trouble if
True.
you tinker down there too.
True. I
But
don't know.
you know, don't be seen.
All right. Elmer LB is another survivor. He was 73 years old in August 31st, 2022, when he was overdosed on insulin. As of the trial, he would still be alive, but he had major health issues. He served in the Vietnam War and worked for USPS for 30 years. It is noted that he had grandchildren, no mention of a wife or anything, so I don't know, but he had grandkids.
Yeah.
Betty Hutchinson was 93 years old when she was injected on November 9th, 2022. She would survive the insulin overdose, but have a stroke as a direct result. Her great niece would call her Rosie the Riveter, as she
Oh,
worked in the Bantam factory as a teen. Her husband joined the ministry of the Church of God of Prophecy, and they would travel around serving multiple churches. At the time of this writing, she is still alive at this time. James Bartow was born on March 22nd, 1967, and on November 19th, 2022, he would end up in the hospital. This was on a night that Heather was working. He would die at 55 years old on December 4th, 2022. So he went to college for auto mechanics and would end up working for Standard Bent Glass at the time. I'm kind of guessing that might be like an auto glass place. I don't know though. He was a member of the Legion. He was very creative and loved to draw, do small woodworking projects, and do puzzles. And he had a soft spot for cats.
ah,
Yeah, I don't know. If you like animals, you're already in. I'm not a big cat person, but if you like animals, you're in.
sure.
Louis Skinner was born at home on October 9th, 1932, which is crazy. Home birth at that time, and
Yeah.
would die at 90 on Sunday, December 18th, 2022. All of her 90 years were spent living in the town she was born in, and she worked as an insurance clerk for many of those years. She would attend the church at Montgomeryville Baptist Church. She lived for working in her flower beds, cooking, baking, shopping, traveling, trips to the beach, going to fairs and festivals, and riding bikes. She loved to babysit her great granddaughters and loved to play Uno with them. And Uno, good game. Good
It
game.
is a good game. My kids just learned how to play.
I need to relearn how to play it, but I do like it.
Yeah.
It's been so long. She also loved to camp, play ball in the backyard, and even ride sleds and roller coasters when she was younger.
Yee.
She left behind her husband William, as well as a few children and a whole brood of grand and great grandchildren, like a whole brood of them. Holy shit!
It's amazing how exponentially larger
Oh yeah,
generations get, you know?
it's like I originally when I was writing this, I was like, I'll try to write out like how many great grandkids and great. It's like nope.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's just gonna be like they had this because it was
Not
this would be like twice as long a script,
not enough digital ink for digital paper.
right? Alice Stewart was born on February 5th, 1937, and would die on December 27th, 2022, at 85 years old. She was a devout member of the Center Hill Church of the Brethren. She loved to study the scripture and write notes about what she learned. As she aged and lost mobility, she would keep a scrapbook of memories, which So normal for people when they get older, right?
Hmm.
She loved to play board games with her sister and her husband, Bill. She would end up learning how to play games on her iPad and play against her daughter in Australia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great when they've got an ability to like connect with family members that are a long ways away.
Hmm.
So Alice had a knack for making friends wherever she ended up, which I understand because I find that I do that too, right? I don't mean to, but I do.
You're a gregarious person.
Yes, I'm both introverted and extroverted. Probably more extroverted, but I'm both.
I think you're more introverted.
I think you're wrong.
I guess it depends on how you get your energy. Do you get it out with people
Uh,
or at home?
I don't have any energy.
Fair. You know what? I should have known better.
All right. Marguerite Laskovich was born on July 26, 1942, and would die at 80 on January 21st, 2023. She was a co-CEO of ABC Glass Service Inc. and also at one time an associate at JCPenney, and
Mm,
even had a part-time front desk receptionist job at Concordia and Rebecca Residence.
wow.
So at this time, she was happily retired, probably for a long time. She had a love of animals and used to show and breed dogs.
Mm,
She and her late former husband had a few children. So Sandra Lincoln was born on August 17th, 1940, and died at 82 on April 17th, 2023. Fortunately, I couldn't find a lot of info on Sandra, but she did have a daughter and a few grandkids.
hmm.
But her obituary didn't have much information. I
Yeah.
tried. Nicholas Symbol, it's CY
Hmm.
Symbol, was born on May 26, 1979, and died at 43 years old on May 1st, 2023. Nicholas bounced around living in Florida for a time as well as Maryland. He would work at Chili's as a cook. Living with his father for in Florida for 6 years, they would love to take road trips. He loved to go to the beach and swim. It looks like he was an avid hunter from one of the photos I found.
Hmm.
And so depending where he lived, he was either attending a Catholic church or a Methodist church, but he was religious. He also loved to shoot pool, go fishing, play his PlayStation, cook, listen to music, and watch movies. It sounds like something happened to Nicholas, and he was temporarily living at the Sunnyview Nursing Home and Rehab after some kind of disability. I
Hmm.
wonder if he had maybe a head injury. I'm not sure. He was looking forward to going home when he was overdosed.
That's sad.
Yeah, it really is. Like 43 years old. Like he was 2 years older than me. Like he's still
Yeah.
a young man with bad back. Like,
Right.
it's so young. It's crazy. Charles Kramer was 51 years old when on October 9th, 2022, Heather caused him to go into a hypoglycemic state.
Ugh,
Luckily, he would survive this overdose.
wow.
And the last person we will talk about is Barbara Schmidt, who was 83 years old on June 17th, 2022, when Heather would also send her into a hyperglycemic state. Luckily, Barbara would also survive. So Heather Pressdee was a prolific serial killer, and I am amazed that this case is not more well known and talked
Yeah,
about.
I'd never heard of it.
She is a fucking horrific angel of death. Horrific. And I mean, I had so much trouble finding information about her actual crimes. Like, I was lucky that I was able to find at least some sort of a bit for every single
Jeez.
person that died in this case.
I'm just putting it together. Like at any point, she could have worked. She worked right where my grandmother-in-law lived, because Allegheny County is includes Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yeah. It's not far from
Yeah,
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
and it's like less than an hour from my parentals. So like she could have worked anywhere in that general vicinity. Ugh.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I have never heard of her. When I was Googling, before I found all the information about all the victims, I thought I would actually have to do two cases because I couldn't find a lot of information about her actual crimes. Couldn't
Right.
find much about other than like what her sentence was. I couldn't find anything about her actual court case, nothing. But I found all the information about of all of her victims, which was awesome because it's so rare.
It is very rare.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the horrible, horrible case of Heather Pressdee and all of the people she killed or tried to kill,
Rot in hell.
which is prison system.
Yes.
You know,
One and the same.
I am not a person that's big about incarceration system, but people like her need to be
They need
out
to
of
be
the
off the
general
street.
population. They
Yep.
need to be gone.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, they release all these people that are on these stupid bullshit like cannabis charges and shit and small
This is the
crimes that
person.
mean nothing. This is the person that needs to go away and hide. Like,
Yes.
just put them away, let her rot. You know, how old was she again? She was 41. Let her rot for another 40 years in prison, whatever it's actually going to be. She's not going to live for 600 years or whatever, but let
Yeah,
her
no.
rot.
Yep.
But yeah, that is the case of this douche canoe angel of death who doesn't deserve to live.
Nope. Oh my gosh, that's horrific. Honestly,
Yes,
that's just terrible.
100%. But I'm happy that I was able to share at least a little bit of information about every single person that we know she touched.
Right. Right. Mm.
And hey, if I had found any information about the dogs and cats and stuff that she put down, I would have shared that too.
That would have been fascinating. I'm interested to see because, yeah, I mean, technically, the process of that is very specific.
Yeah, 100%. It's never
But
you're
I'm
never gonna
just
find anything about that.
no, 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 no.
But yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Heather
Well, don't
sucks.
don't say we don't do things that are recent.
Yes, like she was arrested in May of 2023, and she was sentenced this year. So,
It's pretty quick
you know,
in terms of the American justice system.
any justice system, yeah,
Yeah, fair.
yeah. She was actually she was sentenced as of recording a week ago.
Holy crap. Well, sir,
Yes.
you win. You win the current award.
Yeah, right. I mean, her crime started in 2020, but she
Yeah.
was just very recently sentenced.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to Brew Crime. You can find us on all social media platforms at Brew Crime, and it's so frustrating to be on all of them.
Uh,
They all suck.
I'd
We
say
have a
you're up for
Facebook.
sainthood, but that'd be awkward.
Yeah, right. Pretty hard to be a saint when you're an atheist.
I
We have
don't
a
know. People have
we
been
have a
saints with
face.
a lot worse crimes.
True. Yes, we have a Facebook group at Brew Crime the group. If you'd like to support the show, you can head to patreon.com/brewcrime now. The money goes towards upgrading equipment, making the show that much better. You get one bonus episode a month, as well as early ad-free access to our episodes. And shout out to our Patreon supporters, True Crime Nana, 3 Years In, and the Faves of Our Lives. Also, if you want to support us and you don't want to support us on Patreon, if you go to Spreaker.com and find us there, you can become a supporter. And it's cheaper than Patreon. You don't get early access, but you still get access to our Patreon content. But unfortunately, because of the way Spreaker is, it's not ad free. So we've made it a bit cheaper, but yeah, support us either way.
By the way, I do want to say this before we go.
Mm.
Ideally, we have a say in terms of some topics of what shouldn't be on our show in advertisements.
Yes.
That being said, that doesn't always go to plan because of ads that get just put in.
Yeah.
So if you hear of something, let us know. But also, we don't have much control over that.
Yeah. If you hear an ad of us actually speaking, which hasn't happened in a while, then we have actually agree with that advertiser.
Right.
We want to support it. But unfortunately, we have ad placements that help us run this show. And a lot of advertisers are now lying about what the ad is. So saying
Yeah.
it's about food and it's about politics, or saying it's about outdoor activity and it's about friggin' guns. Like, there's not much we can do. Like, if you tell us about it, send us an email, a direct message, whatever, and we'll send a message to our host to try to fix it.
Yeah.
But please don't send us a 0 or a 1-star rating about some ad you've heard, because we have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and the only reason I brought that up is because the election is drawing nearer in the
It
United States,
is.
and
Yes.
there's
The
other
end
stuff
times are
going on too.
near.
Right. There's other stuff going on as well, and it's important to me that you all know that there is only so much control we have over that, and when they lie about what the genre is of their ad, and we've specifically marked no political ads, you can't.
Yeah,
That's yeah,
100%.
not in our court.
Not at all. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All cases on Brew Crime are written by Mike and JT or a writer we credit on the episode, and sources are put into our show notes for each episode. We always want to give credit to the people that research the cases we talk about. Check out our store at tpublic.com/stores/brew-crime-podcast, where you can purchase gear like t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, pillows, and all kinds of other cool stuff. Brew Crime's intro was created by Mike using Creative Commons Attribution licensed audio from purple-planet.com, soundbible.com, and freesoundeffects.com. Logo designed by Ben Greenberg. Thanks for listening to this episode of Brew Crime Podcast.
Hello, friends. Are you feeling down? Do you need a pick-me-up? Well, look no further, for I have the solution. Just go to your nearest podcast store and pick up a box of Backlit Cinema, the podcast. That's right, folks. Backlit Cinema, the podcast, will cure what ails you. The sweet, smooth, and gentle chit-chat of the movies of yesteryear will fulfill your aching nostalgia and improve your overall well-being. The soothing sounds of your host, Zoe Richardson, talking about your favorite moments of these classic films is guaranteed to lift your spirits. The behind-the-scenes trivia that you'll learn will fill you with awe and wonderment. Don't hesitate. Try Backlook Cinema, the podcast, now with no artificial flavors or colors.
Warning, the aforementioned claims of improved well-being or as a cure to any ailment cannot be substantiated.
And
Denver.
thank you. I just gotta fix one thing in the script. I just noticed.
Absolutely not. You
Aw.
misspelled my name. It says asshole. Correct me. Are we? Sorry, I was looking up something age-wise. We're still talking about the same person.
Yes. This is James Farrer from 1930. Yeah.
Let me just add this. She was born 1 year before the very first transatlantic flight.
Oh, James.
He, sorry, was born. Yes.
In 1930, that was 1 year.
You said 19. Oh, no, this is not the same person.
You're
I was-
thinking of Anne Victor.
It took me forever to get to it, but I got to it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. We're past that. Moving on.
Yes. He was 73 years old, 2022,